Let's make a chocolate bounty cake in the Cayman Islands. Today we're going to make this most delicious little dessert that is based on a dessert we had at this little restaurant on the northern tip of Grand Cayman called Vivo. The food was wonderful, but what really won our hearts was this little cake they make that was called the Coco Choco Bounty Cake, which is coconut chocolate based deliciousness. So I knew I had to create it for you. All right, so we're going to start with the base of the cake, and that's where all the coconut is, because we're on an island, right? We have to use coconut. So I've got 1 cup of dried unsweetened coconut. It's going into the bowl. And then the next part we're going to mix together so that that's the wet part that's going to bind it all together. So we're going to use a 1/2 cup of more of the coconut. We've got 1 cup of coconut milk, and this is just a canned coconut milk. Then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1/4 cup of decadent dates. So now we're just going to blend this until those dates are completely pulverized. Okay, now we're just going to mix this all together. All right, stir that together. Now you're just going to pour that into your brownie pan that I lined with parchment paper, and then you'll want to smooth it down really nice and evenly, because this is the cake base. All right, for the chocolate layer, you're going to need 1 cup of pitted dates, 1/3 cup of a nice dark cocoa powder, 1/4 cup of coconut milk, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 tablespoons of cashews or almonds. And that's what's going to help that layer set up a little bit, so it's not just like a sauce. It's going to turn into kind of like a pudding almost. All right, so now I'm going to add some hot water. This is a cup of hot water. Now we're just going to blend that until it's super silky. Oh, look at that silkiness. All right, so now you're just going to pour that onto the top layer. And just be careful when you're smoothing this layer around so that you don't disrupt the bottom layer of coconut, because you don't want them to mix together. So now you're going to put this in the refrigerator, and you want to refrigerate it for at least 4 hours, but really ideally it would be better just to put it in overnight so it gets really nice and set up. Okay, for our last element, there is a caramel sauce that is drizzled over the top. So that's what we're gonna make. Got 1/4 cup of dates, a teaspoon of nutritional yeast, 1/3 cup of water. And this part is completely optional, but you kind of need it to be just a teeny bit salty to balance out the sweet. So I'm gonna use just a teeny bit of salt, about 1/8 teaspoon really. All right, now we're just gonna blend this up until it's super silky and pourable. Okay, it is done. If you want to come in for a closer look. You are going to love it.